Bradley J. Edwards is also one of the lead lawyers alongside Stanley Pottinger. In actual fact, they set up their own legal firm together called Edwards Pottinger. Edwards claims in this book to be dumb, and at the same time notes that Stanley Pottinger is obviously a spy working for the CIA. So that leads to massive questions. Last month, now this article, the people involved in this article, some of them have known what's coming for a while. I've known this for a bit. Last month, Edwards Pottinger split. This is like really important stuff because that's Edwards distancing himself from Pottinger just before the story breaks.
So the company split.
Yeah. So Pottinger left. I don't know. It's become something else. It was about June the 3rd, June the 4th. I looked on the way back machine was the last time that I can find that it was Edwards Pottinger. So it was last month that it split, and I'm not surprised it was going to split. They knew it was one of the legal team that I was investigating. In actual fact, some of the people involved in this have put up a campaign of disinformation and to try and also tried to basically say the same things that they think were going to be in the article. I think so they could co-opt it and say, oh, well, I knew this beforehand, but they hadn't explained how they knew it. It was just they were involved, intimately involved. So there's a lot of this going on at the moment. It's a very strange time in my world because I'm right touching the Epstein case here. I've been in touch with Epstein victims. I've talked with various people involved in the case. I've helped write the book on the case. I've written massive articles on the case. I feel really deeply involved in this now. But that I'm looking for number 26. That's what I'm looking for. So we are going to explore this. We're in chapter 26, and he calls it "Whose Side Are You On?" And he calls it that for a good reason, because he's introducing how he met Stanley Pottinger. Wow. So he's talking about his meeting with Virginia. I provided Virginia Roberts information to the FBI on July the 5th, 2013. FBI agents interviewed her at United States Consulate General for Sydney, Australia, to inquire about her time with Jeffrey Epstein. The interview sparked something in Virginia that she had tried for years to suppress. In the summer of 2014, she moved back to the United States. She did this because of how important the CVRA case was to her. She felt compelled to come home and to fight not just for herself, but for all of Epstein's victims. She didn't know Courtney, but she loved what Courtney stood for and wanted to join in. So, 2014, Virginia returns, gets Bradley Edwards on board, meets with him. Shortly after our meeting, I received an entirely unexpected telephone call. I was at home, in bed, at 11:30 on Friday night when my phone rang. As soon as I said hello, the voice on the other end went into a wind-up that eventually became familiar. "Let me introduce myself," the caller said. "My name is Stan Pottinger. I'm sure you get loads of crazy calls about this subject matter, Jeffrey Epstein. But hear me out. I have a civil rights practice in New York. Before that, I was Assistant Attorney General for the Civil Rights Division at the Justice Department in Washington. In addition to my own current work, I sometimes work on cases with David Bowies. I've been contacted to represent one of the victims of Jeffrey Epstein, and I have told David about it. We understand that you're an expert. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. I'm calling to see if it makes sense to work together." This is unexpected for me. I wanted to know how Stanley Pottinger first entered into the case against Jeffrey Epstein, and to find his legal partner explain it in a way that I exactly expected it to be, which
he
is
turned up.
just turns up out of the blue. He says, "Hey, my name's Stan. Now, I've
Can
done all of
fix it
these
for you.
things, but I can sort it out for you. I can sort all of this out for you." This is what he does. He's Stan the man. We don't want to reinvent the wheel.